What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and holy shit have Nvidia come out swinging at the start of CES 2018. So they've kicked it off by announcing what they're calling big format gaming displays, and this is extremely interesting if you ask me. Now, I'll get to why that is now in a minute. First off, I'm just going to talk about what these are and the features in them, and then we're going to get to why it's going to be very interesting. So, big format gaming displays, well, what are they? First off, and well, basically first and foremost, a big format gaming display, or as they're going to be known as a BFGD, kind of weird, is essentially a 65-inch PC monitor. Now, you may be wondering, it's like, wait a minute, you mean a big TV? No, it's a 65-inch PC monitor. PC monitors are generally higher spec, but obviously they're usually lower size-wise. After all, when's the last time you've seen a dedicated PC monitor above 32 inches? Exactly. And when you look at a lot of TVs, and 50, 60, 75, whatever inch, and you look at the specs on them, even exceptionally high-end TVs can be missing one or two things, unless you get an extremely high-end $5,000 OLED TV. And even then, they still won't be perfect. But that's where Nvidia looks to combat all of that. So with their new BFGDs, they're essentially bringing out a high-end, high-spec, large-sized TV monitor. I say TV monitor, TV-sized monitor. That later this year, they will be licensing out to companies like Acer, Asus, and HP to put their own little spins on it or do whatever it is or distribute it however they're going to do it. But anyway, let's look at the actual specs for all this. So their 65-inch TV is going to come in two models, which we'll get to now in a second. They're essentially the exact same, they only have a different resolution. But let's look at the feature set on these as well, okay? So first off, there is two different models. One runs at 4K and the other runs at 3440 by 1440. Both TVs are 120 Hz, so none of that shitty 60 Hz stuff, none of that low quality, blurry 60 frames per second slow motion. And both of them have G-Sync, something which you guys know I have championed for years now. I've been rocking G-Sync for about 3.5 years, and it is phenomenal. I cannot game without it anymore. It's also HDR compatible with a 1000 nit peak brightness. And here's something that I find exceptionally interesting. It has an integrated built-in inside the screen Nvidia Shield. So you know the Nvidia Shield TV, the one I've been wanting to buy for years but I've also kept putting off? It's got one of them built in inside it. So anything the Shield can do, this can do, including stream things like Netflix, YouTube, etc. But more interesting in my case, maybe it can run Dolphin. And of course, naturally, because it is an Nvidia Shield, it supports things like Nvidia Game Stream, the Android games that run natively on there, etc, etc. And of course, because we're looking at 120 Hz, 120 frames per second screen, naturally, you know it needs a good response time. So there's going to be none of that terrible, unusable 4 millisecond crap. You're not even going to have the blurry 2 millisecond crap. These are 1 millisecond screens. Now, of course, when it comes to PC monitors, something is very important. What kind of panel is this? Now, I will say this right now, it doesn't specifically list, and Nvidia haven't disclosed what kind of panel is going to be in these. That could potentially be down to the manufacturers down the line, but while reading the actual press release, they have specifically mentioned quantum dot. Now, they haven't said it's a quantum dot screen. They used it when it came to a different term across the color gamut, but I'm not 100% sure on that. They also haven't said what kind of inputs are going to be on this screen. And that could of course be something that's left up to individual manufacturers. But of course, because you're looking at 4K 120 Hz, the old HDMI, the old DisplayPort won't do it. You're going to be looking at the most current and up-to-date versions of HDMI and DisplayPort on here. So yes, it will be compatible with your consoles, as well as your live streamed apps, and of course, your glorious PC Gaming Master Race computer. Now let's get on to the other bit I wanted to talk about that I mentioned earlier on in the video. Who is this for? What kind of person is going to have a screen like this? Well, let's look at it. It's a 65-inch screen, so naturally it's comparable to replacing a TV, and it's got all these advanced technologies that you don't find in TV. Now, having said all that, there will be one or two lunatics out there who will be sitting at their desk just like I am right now with my normal computer and my normal monitor. There are some lunatics and absolute madmen out there who will get one of these 65-inch 4K 120Hz screens and sit 6 inches away from it at a desk, because there are people out there that are fucking lunatics. I've seen pictures of people sitting at desks like that with straight up 50, 60, 70, 80-inch TVs that close just so they can get a big screen with a high resolution. So there will be some absolute lunatics that will do that. But what I find most interesting about this is it can be used properly as a TV. Typically, you wouldn't use even a high-end large PC monitor as a TV replacement, usually because they would only roughly go up to about 32 inches. You think your average gaming setup, or you think your average console or living room setup, you're going to have a bigger screen. I mean, hell, when's the last time you found anyone with even a 40-inch screen? Usually nowadays you're talking 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85 screen. So this could essentially be your TV replacement. And what's exceptionally funny is this also counteracts something that hasn't been true for probably a decade now, that ignorant console gamers, not all console gamers, just the ignorant fanboy ones, have always said is one of the biggest advantages of playing a game on a console. Oh, I can sit back on my couch and play on my TV. First off, that kind of stuff hasn't been true for about 15 years. And this just reinforces it on top anymore. It's like, oh, you have your Xbox One X or your PS4 Pro, and you're running it on whatever TV, and it's struggling to do whatever it's doing on your TV. Meanwhile, we have our extremely high-end beast PCs running on extremely high-quality, feature-laden, large-screen monitor, while we're sitting back, playing with our mouse and keyboard or whatever we want, controller, all sorts of controllers. This just shuts all that down right there. And I think Nvidia know that this is going to have an appeal to just beyond desktop PC gamers. I don't mean desktop, I mean sitting at desk PC gamers. Because they do specifically mention PC and console games in the press release for this. So I think the intention for this is to actually bring it to the living room experience. So when these launch later on in the year, I'm expecting to see DisplayPort, maybe 2 or 3 HDMI on these bad boys. But anyway, as it stands at the moment, colour me impressed. We're going to have to wait the next couple of months, of course, to see what the price on these is. Chances are they're going to be pretty expensive. I would be very, very surprised if these were less than $2,000. But I will say this, I am not only very curious to see what they're capable of, I'm actually probably going to get one. As long-time viewers of my channel already know, I've been putting off buying a 4K TV for a while, and I was actually thinking about pulling the trigger in the next couple of weeks. I have my eye on a nice 4K OLED screen, but this could double up as both of them, or it could potentially replace them. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I want to wait a little bit longer till the info on these comes out. I would love to pick up an Asus Republic of Gamers, one of these bad boys, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know in the comments section below, are you blown away by all of this? Are you very interested? Are you very surprised? And do you think this is actually just going to completely shut down the majority of TV manufacturers? Are you going to pick one up? Let me know if you think there's anything missing or whatever, anything about these. I'll also leave a link to the press release in the description below, so be sure to check that out. And while you're at it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.